No, when current NB Premier Blaine Higgs ran unsuccessfully for the CoR party leadership of the provincial wing in the province in 1989, it was on the backs of the dissatisfaction of many people about the Hatfield government that fell out of favor in the 87 election. Now, that election, the McKenna Liberals won every seat in the province. Now, a little bit of background about CoR and why Blaine Higgs in recent months is doing what he's doing and saying he doesn't have the old ways when he was in the CoR party, which is a complete fallacy. Just as a background, in the late 1980s, support for the PCs had collapsed because of corruption scandals in the government. As well, many English-speaking New Brunswickers were unhappy with the government's promotion of official bilingualism, which is the use of English, French in the public service. Now, CoR promised to repeal the 69 Official Languages Act, which made the French language equal for official purposes with English on a province-wide basis. CoR also promised providing government services in French only in areas with a large francophone population. The French-speaking Acadian population believed this to be an anti-francophone policy, so the CoR had no support in large francophone populations. In the 88 federal election, the CoR party had considerable success in New Brunswick. They nominated candidates in 7 to 10 ridings and won 4.3% of the vote within the province. Now, when the CoR party's provincial wing was founded in 1999, Mayor-in-Chief businessman Arch Pafford was elected leader, and former Hatfield Cabinet Minister Al Allen became the party's most notable candidate. Now, Higgs, who was born in Woodstock, New Brunswick, and graduated from UNB as an engineer, eventually worked 33 years for Irving Oil. He was originally a Liberal, but left the Liberals because he opposed Canadian bilingualism. Now, Higgs also opposed the New Brunswick Official Languages Act. In his mid-30s, he ran again for the leadership of New Brunswick CoR in 1989, stating he was in favor of common sense. In his bid for the CoR leadership, Higgs complained about francophones who can speak the common language but refuse to. In his CoR leadership bid, which I covered, Higgs supported an elected Senate, opposed the Meech Lake Accord, favored fixed terms for government, and stated, "We do not have an obligation to cater to those people who can speak the common language, English, and refuse to do so." While running for CoR, Higgs stated, "I have not caught up with the modern way of thinking." Interesting, is it not? So here we are in the election in 1991. Now, the Confederations of Regions Party had great success in that vote. Going to the election, the provincial Liberals held all the seats in the legislature, but many Conservatives, especially in the Frankton region and rural central New Brunswick, were still upset with the PC party over the bilingualism issue. CoR was able to capitalize on the situation and captured 21% of the vote and 8 seats despite running in only 48 of the 58 ridings. The party ran full slates in Northumberland, Westmoreland, and Victoria counties, which have mixed English-speaking Acadian populations, and a full slate in the Acadian but bilingual Restigouche County. The party also nominated 1 candidate in Kent County, 2 in Gloucester County. No candidates for CoR ran in the very unilingual French Madawaska County. The PCs, which ran a full slate of 58, received only 20% of the vote. Now, the 91 election allowed the Confederations of Regions Party to sit as the official opposition, and their success prompted pro-bilingual politicians to enshrine Section 16.1 in the Charter of Rights, which threatens New Brunswick bilingualism. Thank you, Archie Pafford and Danny Cameron and Blaine Higgs on that. However, the CoR's leader, Arch Pafford, had not been able to win a seat, and Danny Cameron was chosen as their interim leader. Now, internal division resulted in political infighting within CoR. A rivalry formed between Cameron, who was seen as a moderate, and fellow CoR MLA Brent Taylor, who was seen as more radical. A year after Cameron's election as interim leader, the party executive president and council sought to remove him. He resisted. The party council had held a leadership convention at a 92 convention in Campbellton, which I covered, where Taylor narrowly defeated Cameron and became leader of the CoR. But Cameron and his supporters argued that the race was illegal. Cameron's supporters later gained control over the party's presidency, allowing Cameron to fire a large portion of the party executive and council. Now, CoR MLAs Brent Taylor and Bev Bryan were kicked out of caucus in '94 due to ongoing opposition to Cameron. During this period, party membership dropped from 20,000 to 5,000. Now, Cameron eventually chose to resign the leadership to try to settle the internal divisions affecting the party. The entire party membership were allowed to vote in a race that followed. Pro-Taylor Gary Ewart, now a sitting MLA, was chosen over pro-Cameron Greg Hargrove, but neither Ewart nor caucus leader Ab Rector were able to resolve their differences with Cameron supporters. Ewart resigned 23 days later, leaving the party in limbo. Now, the executive elected Greg Hargrove leader in time for the 95 election, but the damage had already been done. None of the party members of the Legislative Assembly were re-elected in 95, and the party received just 27,700 votes, 7% of the popular vote, placing it behind the New Democrats. By 1999, Conservative voters were being ruled back by the charismatic leadership of Bernard Lord, who looked poised to return the party to power after 10 years in the wilderness. The CoR party, now led by Jim Webb, slipped further in the 99 provincial election to just 2,800 votes, 0.4% of the total. Following the election, Colby Fraser, who had run federally for the party in 1988, replaced Webb as leader. By 2001, the party was little more than a few computer files in Fraser's basement. At that time, he contacted the remaining members who voted to dissolve the party, which occurred on March 31st, 2002. Now, this was 19 years ago, the official done of CoR. But what we were concerned about in the media, and this has been stated by many people in Northern New Brunswick and the Acadian and francophone region, that a former CoR would rise up through the ashes of CoR and take over the PC party and maybe become Premier. Blaine Higgs, I'm looking at you. We know what you said. We know what you stand for. You said you changed your ways, but just like David Duke, just like Ted Nugent, just like Donald Trump, you said it, you probably still think it, and you don't have my vote. I'm a member of the media. I cover both sides. I covered your convention. I covered your party members all through the years. I know what you stand for, Blaine Higgs. You don't stand for all of New Brunswick. You stand for southwestern New Brunswick. Your recent machinations with your second term, there's too many to count. We know what you stand for. Again, you should resign. You don't represent all of New Brunswick. The facts are here. I covered it. This is public knowledge. If you stood up for this before, you don't believe in a bilingual New Brunswick. If you did, you'd be doing more to make New Brunswick a better place to live. You say you changed? Sorry, I don't believe it. I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Mr. Premier, doesn't matter if it's COVID, the Aboriginal file, the CUPE strike, the cluster of Alzheimer cases that you don't recognize, you need to go, you need to resign. I wish you luck in your future endeavors. Bye.